when you're making homemade food for your pet, it's important that you get a nutritionally balanced recipe. Every dog is different. They all have their own unique individual nutritional needs, and those are based on a variety of variables, including their age, weight, overall health condition, their breed can be a factor, their activity level. There's lots of different variables that go into how much nutrition your dog needs and what amounts. So this is a nutritionally balanced dog food recipe, but it's still not going to be nutritionally balanced for every dog. It's actually impossible to make a recipe that would be 100% nutritionally balanced for every dog's needs. Every dog is different, and like people, we all need different nutritional needs for our body, so your dogs are the same way, and you have to take that into consideration. This is especially important if you have a multi-dog household. A lot of owners think they can make one homemade recipe to feed all of their dogs, but on the contrary, it may be nutritionally balanced for one dog and not meeting the needs of the other. So it's important that you check with your veterinarian or a canine nutritionist when providing homemade food for your pet. They can help you evaluate your dog to decide what his unique nutritional needs are, and then create recipes that will meet those needs. And as I mentioned, if you have multiple pets, it's quite likely that you'll have to make different recipes for each dog, or you may have to add supplements to a certain recipe to make it nutritionally balanced for one dog, and the other dog may not need the supplements. The first step for this nutritionally complete homemade dog food recipe is to fry up some stew meat on medium heat, and I'm going to fry it in some coconut oil. I'm actually going to use about a tablespoon of coconut oil. I'm going to put it in my frying pan, which is already warming on medium heat. You can see the oil melting just a little, so I'm going to let that melt completely, and then I'm gonna add 1 pound of stew meat. And if the stew meat comes already cut into an appropriate size for your dog, that's great. If not, you want to cut it into bite-sized pieces. I have a Labrador Retriever and a Beagle mix that are going to be eating this, so these are fine bite-sized pieces. But if you have a really small dog, a Yorkie or a Chihuahua or something like that, you're gonna want to cut them a little bit smaller. So whatever is appropriate for your pet. I've also, these are actually cut nicely for our dogs, but I've seen stew meat cut into much larger pieces as well. So I'm going to throw that in the pan, and you're going to cook this for about 20 minutes until the meat is well done. Now that my stew meat is done, I want to take the meat out and set it to the side, and I'm going to leave the drippings on the heat because I'm going to add some more ingredients to the drippings to make a gravy to put all of the rest of my ingredients in. So it'll make a nice, it's not a wet food per se, but it'll have a nice gravy coating that'll be really appetizing for your dog. So I don't have a whole lot of drippings here, but the ones that are left I'm going to leave in the pan. Again, it's still on medium heat. And to add to these drippings, I have a 1/2 cup of water. I'm just going to whisk it around a little bit to blend everything. And I'm going to slowly add a 1/2 cup of flour, and I'm going to whisk this in a little bit at a time, and this is what's going to make your gravy for this homemade dog food recipe. So my gravy's pretty thick. As you can see, you can add a little bit more water if you want it to be a little bit thinner, but this is fine for me. Now I'm going to add my meat back in. I'm also going to add a 1/2 cup of chopped green beans, a 1/2 cup of chopped carrots, and I have a small sweet potato. And before you add the sweet potato, you want to cook it in the microwave for 3 to 5 minutes just to soften it up, and then chop it. So now I have my chopped, softened sweet potato, my green beans, my carrots, Everything's gonna get stuck in my whisk, so going back to my rubber spatula, I'm just gonna kind of cover everything, roll it around in the gravy mixture. And then I'm gonna cook it for about 10 more minutes, and this will just allow all those veggies to soften up. And once it's cooled, you can serve it to your dog. This is what my nutritionally complete homemade dog food looks like when it's finished. You can tell that our Beagle Molly enjoys eating it. Let me see if I can get her. There we go. I recommend feeding about a half a cup for every 20 pounds of body weight per serving, and you're gonna wanna feed 2 servings per day. So Molly weighs about 30 pounds, so I feed her about 3/4 of a cup in the morning, 3/4 of a cup in the evening. Keep in mind that less active dogs will need less calories, while more active dogs will need more calories. If you have specific questions about the serving size for your dog, if he has certain health conditions, and you want to know how much is appropriate to feed him, reach out to a canine nutrition expert in your area, maybe your veterinarian or a canine nutritionist, maybe a holistic vet in your area, and they should be able to help you with that. You can store leftovers in the refrigerator for up to 5 days, and you can freeze this recipe as well for use up to 2 weeks. If you have any other questions about this nutritionally complete homemade dog food, feel free to email me, Samantha@topdogtips.com. Thanks for watching this recipe video.